Yes, you set the denominator equal to 0. How would I solve this? Add 5 to both sides. And then divide both sides by 2. So our excluded value, what x cannot be equal to, is 5/2. All right, questions on number 1. Let's keep it going. Number 2, what should I do?
Take out an x.
I don't have an equation.
Oh, x.
Yeah, make this equal to 0. Then you are correct. You want to take out an x. So that would leave me with x, and then what? X plus 2, good. So x equals 0, and x plus 2 equals 0. Now x equals 0, the x is already isolated. That one's done. How would I get x by itself right here?
X equals -2.
Yeah, subtract 2 from both sides, and x equals -2. Good. All right, and the third one, what should I do? Set this equal to 0, good. And then we're going to do MA, so it's going to multiply to -18, add to 3. So y plus 6, y minus 3. Do I need to do the divide bottoms up step? Nope, this one's already good to go. So y plus 6 equals 0, y minus 3 equals 0. All right, what's my first solution? -6. Oh, and remember, these are all the values that x cannot be equal to. And y cannot be equal to 3. All right, so those are excluded values. I know we struggled with that a lot at the beginning. Do you guys still have questions or just needing practice or feeling good? Where are we at with those? You cool? Okay. Sounds good. Number 4, we're supposed to simplify. Do you guys remember how to simplify these? What do? We factor. What can I factor out of my numerator? 5x squared, which leaves me with what? X minus 5. Good. And in the denominator, I can factor out 10, which leaves me x minus 5. 5 would work, but then you'd have to do it again because you'd end up with 2x minus 10. And then there's still a factor that can come out. All right, so x minus 5 and x minus 5. What else?
5.
The 5 and the 10 becomes a 1 and a 2. All right, so in my numerator, I have 1 times x squared, which is just x squared. In my denominator, I have 2. Questions on number 4. All right, number 5, it's kind of hidden, but there's a squared right there, which means you have this twice. So this is x minus 4 times x minus 4. The denominator will do MA, so what multiplies to -28 but adds to 3?
7 and 4.
Which way?
-4 and +7.
Okay, so x minus 4x plus 7. Do I need to go back and divide by anything? No, the leader's a 1, so you don't really need to do that step. All right, anything going to cross out? X minus 4 and x minus 4. So I'm left with x minus 4 over x plus 7. Any questions? All right, and now we can actually start the notes. So we are doing Chapter 6, Day 3 today. It's all about dividing rational expressions. Remember, rational expressions is like a fancy fraction. So we're going to start by reviewing how to divide fractions. If you can divide fractions and you can do what we did last week, you're going to be golden. Okay? Questions? All right. How do you divide a fraction? No.
Switch the 5 and 2 and turn it to multiplication.
Yes, keep, change, flip is usually the way most people remember this. Or you can remember multiply by the reciprocal. So we rewrite the problem altogether. We change the division sign to a multiplication symbol. We flip the second fraction. The first fraction stays the same. That's what we'll be doing today, but with rational expressions. All right? Once you change it to multiplication, you can check to cancel, like cross cancel like we've been doing, or cancel, within the same fraction. Once everything's simplified that can simplify, multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom, and you're done. This should not be new to anyone. But do you have any questions? All right, so now let's practice with an actual rational expression. All right, so let's rewrite it first. What should I do?
2x squared y over 3 times 9 over 5x.
Very good. So keep, change, flip.
Can we simplify? So the x would go there.
So x goes with x, good. So instead of x to the second power, we'll just have x to the first, right? And then the 9 and the 3 can become a 1 and a 3. Divide them both by 3. I believe that's it. Is there anything else you guys see? All right, so multiply your numerators. 2xy times 3 would be what? 6xy over 5. And that's our answer. What are your questions? All right, so I just want to quickly remind you about order of operations, right? So if you have exponents, does that come before or after division? Before. So I need to take care of the parentheses to the third power before I even worry about the division. Okay? So I'm just going to keep this 2x divided by, what's 4 to the third power? 64. What's y to the third power?
Y to the 9.
And what's x to the 7th to the third power?
X to the 21st.
Very good. Now I'm going to keep, change, flip. And I'm going to think of that as a fraction as well. So I'm going to do 2x over 1 times x to the 21st over 64y to the 9th. Anything happening here?
2 and 64.
The 2 and the 64 can become
1 and 32.
1 and 32. So in my numerator, I have 1 times x to the 21st. So x to the 22nd over 1 times 32 times y to the 9th. 32y to the 9th. Good. What are your questions? Yes, ma'am.
Never mind. I would.
All right. Any ideas? Flip what?
The 1 and the 3a minus 12.
Okay. Anything else you want to do?
And then the chain multiplication.
Okay. So keep, change, flip. All right. Then what?
The 1 and the 1 will go away.
Okay.
And
A small. Oh,
the A's.
The 8 and the 12.
12
we
and
simplify.
12 and 2.
12 and 8.
Can I simplify terms?
No.
No.
No. Before I can do any simplifying, what do I need to do?
Combine.
Factor.
No.
Factor. Thank you. So we know that ones are not important, right? This is going to be my numerator. This is going to be my denominator, okay? So I'm going to combine it into one fraction now instead of writing the ones. Is everyone okay with that? How do I factor 3a minus 12?
Take 3
Take
off.
a 3 out, which will leave me with a minus
4.
4. Good. What about the denominator?
Take 2.
Try to look ahead a little.
Is that negative 2?
What if I take out a negative 2?
Yeah.
Does everyone see why it would be in our benefit to include the negative sign?
Yes.
Because now it's negative 4 plus a, which is the same thing as this. You could do it in 2 steps if you didn't see that far ahead, but I kind of like to know, like, if I could make it this, then they'll cancel out. That's kind of what you want to keep your eye out for on those. So now they're gone. And I am left with 3 over negative 2, or negative 2 over 3. Or sorry, negative 3 over 2. You can put the negative in the top or the bottom. Not both. Questions? It's a fun one. All right, here's number 4. Do you guys feel comfortable doing keep, change, flip, and factoring all at the same time? I heard a so I'm not going to do it. All right, so I'm going to just keep. Then I'm going to change. Then I'm going to flip. All right, keep, change, flip. Now I'm going to factor. What can I factor, or how can I factor x squared minus x minus 20?
X squared.
X minus 4.
Yeah, this is MA. So it multiplies to negative 20, but it adds to negative 1.
Negative 5 and 4.
So x minus 5, x plus 4. All right. Now we'll move to this guy. What can I do there?
Let's say 5.
Take out a 5, which leaves me with
X minus 5.
x minus 5. Good. Keep multiplication symbol. What about x squared minus 21? Or sorry, minus 25. Yeah, if it was a 21, we couldn't do it. 25 works though. So this is going to be x plus 5, x minus 5. And then we have one more MA. What am I going to do with that one?
It would be minus 1 and 5.
Very good. So x plus 5 and x minus 1. Great. All right, I'm going to pause there for you guys to catch up. All right, start telling me what to cross out. X minus 5, x minus 5, good. X plus 5, x plus 5. And that's it. All right, so in the top, I am going to have x plus 4, x minus 5. In the denominator, I'm going to have 5, x minus 1. Okay.
Well, we want to distribute it.
Yep, I'm going to double distribute this. So that gives me x squared minus 5x plus 4x minus 5 over 5x minus 5. So from here you go down to here. And now, to make sure you can all see it, I'm going to write the final answer up here. Follow the arrows. So it's going to be x squared minus 5x minus 5. Yeah, did I make a mistake?
Wouldn't negative 5 be, because you're doing, so x times x is x squared, x times negative 5 is negative 5x, 4 times x is 4x.
Should this be a 1? Is that what you're saying?
4 times negative 5 would be negative 20, right?
I don't know what I'm thinking.
Just grab it and do it.
Like that?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Huh?
See it?
No.
Yeah, so when I did 4 times negative 5, I put negative 5.
Oh.
But 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. So I just double distributed incorrectly. Thank you for catching that. All right, any other questions? All right, so it's easier to think of the keep, change, flip when they're both fractions. So I would just put that over 1. All right, so I'm going to keep, change, flip. All right, let's start factoring. So x squared minus 4.
X minus 2,
X minus 2x plus 2. Good. This is an MA.
we will get minus 3 and plus 2.
So x minus 3x plus 2. All right, and then we have a 1. What are we thinking on that one?
We should divide it by -1.
Yeah, if we take a negative 1 out, then it would be negative 2 plus x. And negative 2 plus x is the same thing as x minus 2. Does everybody see that? All right, so holler out what I can cross out.
X minus 2 and minus 2 plus x.
Very good. So x minus 2 is the same thing as negative 2 plus x. So cross, cross. What else?
X plus 2.
X plus 2 and x plus 2.
1 and 1 will negative 1. I mean 1
Yeah, so it doesn't matter if you put the negative with the top or the bottom. So we're going to end up with a 1 over, and then if you want to keep it like this, you can. Honestly, if I had just a negative, I'd probably put it in the top and then just leave the parentheses out of it. But same thing. All right, questions? All right, let's go to number 6. Can we keep, change, flip, and factor? Do you think we're ready to combine those 2 steps? Okay, so how does the first one factor? Okay, so multiplies to 25 and adds to negative 10. So x minus 5, x minus 5 over x plus 1. I'm going to make it a multiplication, and then I'm going to factor this guy for the top. And the old numerator is now going to become the denominator. I'm flipping and factoring at the same time. How does x squared plus x factor? You take an x out, a GCF of x. So I'm left with x plus 1. Good. And now this guy is going to become my denominator. 2x out, which would leave me with what? X minus 5. Good. Everybody okay? That was 2 steps at once. Let's pause and make sure we're all on the same page. Because now the real fun starts. What can I do? X minus 5. And only one of the x plus 5s. You can't, like 2 of them don't cancel with 1 of them. Okay?
X plus 1.
X plus 1 and x plus 1. One more thing.
2x and x.
Well, not the 2 part, but the x and the x. Yep. So what's left in my numerator?
X minus 5.
What's left in my denominator? 2. That's it. Question. What if this would have been x minus 5 over 5? Could I do anything?
No.
Nope. That was a trick question. Burp. Can't do anything. They'd all have to have a 5 in the top that you'd factor out to the front, and then you could cross them out. All right, questions? We got 2 more examples. All right, anytime you're stuck, go back to the good old order of operations.
Start with x.
Before we do exponents, what do we do?
Parentheses.
The parentheses. So let's actually go in here first. I'm going to leave this guy alone for a minute. I'm going to leave that guy alone for a minute. What's x times x?
2x.
X to the second. What's 2y times 4y? 8y to the second. Good. All right, so parentheses, then what? Exponents. So each of these is to the 3rd power. So x to the 1st to the 3rd is x to the 3rd. Y to the 1st to the 3rd is y to the 3rd. Now, instead of rewriting it and then dealing with this, are you guys okay if we do it right now? Since these 2 steps don't really affect each other, you can. I'm going to keep, right? Change, flip. And then this guy just kind of hangs out on the end. Remember, multiplication and division happen at the same time from left to right. So don't multiply and then flip it. That would be incorrect. Multiplication and division are at the same time from left to right. You got to remember the basics. All right, now you can start crossing. Anything?
X to the third will become X to the first, and X to the second.
Okay, so that will become just an X, and then this one's gone. Okay.
The same thing with the Y.
Y.
The extra X and the X can cancel out.
Yeah, so actually the Y squareds, but then look, you have a Y over here. Any of the numerators can cancel with any of the denominators, so those Y's actually go away too. And those X's actually, see those? So the answer is actually, after all that, just 8. That's fun. All right, last one when you're ready. I know a lot happened on that one. Yowzes. All right. X squared minus 1.
X plus 1, X minus 1.
Okay. X squared minus 3x minus 10.
X minus 5 and X plus 2.
Very good. X minus 5. X plus 2. I'm going to change this to multiplication. And which one am I factoring to go into my numerator? The old denominator. This guy first. So what multiplies to 4 but also adds to 4?
2.
2 and 2. Good. And now this guy, trying to color code it, now becomes my denominator. So I changed the sign and I flipped it and I factored it in this first step. What multiplies to 2 but adds to 3? 2 and 1. So x plus 2, x plus 1. Then what?
X plus 2 and X plus 2.
X plus 2, x plus 2. Ooh, x plus 2, x plus 2.
X plus 1 and X plus 1.
All right. That works out nicely. What's left in my numerator? What's in my denominator? Can I cross out the x's and just make this 1/5?
No.
You cannot. Don't do it. All right. What did we learn about today? Doing what with them?
Rational expression.
Dividing rational expressions. Good. All right. Here comes your homework.